I'm very excited to be here today. It's me. To be with this fantastic group of panelists to talk about 20 years of best comic book ever! So let's get things started because we have a jam-packed panel for you today, and trust me when I say you want to stay till the end. First up, co-creator Robert Kirkman. Co-creator Corey Walker. And contributing creator Ryan Audley. Skybound Animation's head of studio Mark Dean. And the creative director of franchise Mike Rogers.
Hi, Robert. Hello. Everybody excited to be at Comic-Con? Didn't sound like it. Was everybody excited to be at Comic-Con? I'll allow it. That was pretty good.
Well, Robert, I feel like it's fitting for you to kick things off by letting everyone know what it's like to be here, after 20 years of Invincible.
It's amazing. I mean, when Corey and Ryan and I were working on Invincible all those years ago, to think that it would be possible that Invincible would be this popular and this beloved 20 years later, that there would be rooms like this filled with people that think I'm handsome. Very excited to see me. It definitely is. I'll take it. It's really amazing to know that this character has resonated with you guys and that we're still here, and that's good because we've got all kinds of awesome stuff to share with you. So that's great.
Yeah. So, out of all of the issues that you guys created together, I have to imagine that you guys had some favorites, right? Maybe a single favorite that we potentially have queued up to talk about today. I'm going to start with you, Robert, and what your favorite issue of Invincible is.
My favorite issue of Invincible, I mean, there's a lot of great ones, but it's weird. My favorite one is 97. And the reason that 97 is my favorite issue is because one of the things that I love about Invincible that we were able to achieve in the comic book medium is wild tonal shifts that are disconcerting. And so if you read Invincible 97, it has the story of Bulletproof and his relationship to his brother, relationship to his parents, and it takes a drastically dark turn, a horrific turn. It is one of the darkest moments in the series, and anyone who is familiar with Invincible knows that it is chock full of dark moments. And then it is just slams right into this moment with the beloved Philip Schaff, kind of commenting on how weird the moment is, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to try and push boundaries and do weird stuff, and this issue is one of the weirdest.
Corey, what's it like looking back at 20 years of Invincible? I mean, no pressure to come up with a soundbite or anything.
I feel very old. It's wild. I don't know. I'm not as articulate as well. I don't know, all the things Robert said.
Hey, you know what? I love a good ditto. What about your favorite issue?
I mean, it's hard to have a favorite issue of Invincible, but one that kept coming to me when I asked this question was Invincible 23, the Alan Moore issue.
Spoilers.
Yeah. It was a time where I had been off the book for a while, and so I was just out of the loop enough to not know that this was coming. And I think that the second Robert got the pencil page of Alan Gord in space, he emailed it to me to mess with me. And I probably had a few choice words for him.
He was very angry, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. But it was nice. It was a cool it was a rare opportunity to experience something in the book, like the same way a fan would.
Also, a rare glimpse into how terrible I am as a collaborator.
Did it ever come to a point when you guys were working together that one of you made a decision that you just couldn't like hold your tongue on, that you're like, I need to tell you exactly how I feel about this decision that you made?
Gosh, I have trouble coming up with specifics, but I know that I'm constantly texting. I'm constantly texting you like, oh, I wrote this line dialogue in the show, or came up with this, like, oh, this is going to be neat, just because, I like to get your feedback on things, because you usually call me on my BS pretty good, so I consider that to be of value.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I thought of was in Invincible 85 when I gave Oliver a dog.
Oh, yeah.
You were like, I don't want that. So,
don't out me on my dislike of pets. It makes people not like me.
I was just going to give people the BS reason that you gave me.
Oh, yeah, what did I say?
I didn't write a dog in there, so he can't, if he doesn't interact with the dog, talk to the dog, people are going to think I'm a bad writer.
I think that was enough. I think that was a good enough excuse. Is there a dog still on that page?
On the one page, there's the dog, but the dog flew out the window in original art, and does not.
I have regrets.
In the book.
We should have kept that flying dog.
And remember that.
All right.
New series, Flying Dog, let's go! Brian, let's talk about what your favorite issue of Invincible is.
Favorites? That's a very hard question. I have so many favorites, but my favorite would be probably issue 63 is the one that first came to mind. That panel, when I first got the script, I had to read it all first. That's usually how I did it. I would read Marvel's script, but I'm a fan as well, so I have to see what's going on. And then the second read is me drawing it and trying to figure out the emotion of it all. And I just love that last dialogue that they had at the end. So spoilers, but it's a pretty killer scene. I can't wait for that to show up in the animation. It's gonna be great.
We're actually not going to do that in the cartoon.
What?
Yeah, we're never going to adapt that. It's official.
Exclusive. You heard it here. I don't know if that's actually true.
We're going to replace Conquest with a flying dog.
I'm here for that plan. 144 issues is an incredible run for such an iconic series in the world of comic books. But it must have been, bittersweet saying goodbye to it. And obviously, it's been a couple of years now. You had some time to kind of sit with those emotions. How are you feeling now about, the way that everything ended?
I'm happy with how we were able to end the series. I think that it's great to leave the stage before people are sick of you. I think that's something that as a creative you always kind of want to do. I think that I think it was a cool send-off to the characters. I think we were able to kind of pay tribute to the gravitas that had been developed over the 144 issues. I think it was a nice way to button things up. It was nice to kind of go against type. Most superhero stories, you guys are all superhero fans, I can only imagine, they go on forever. They go on forever and ever and ever. And they usually get traded off to other creative teams and they just continue, and that's what superhero stories do. And with Invincible, we were always going against type. Everything that we did in these books was always unexpected and different, and we used the tropes of superhero comics to try and show you new things and different things. And so as we were working on the book, it was the ultimate way to play against type with a superhero story is to give it a finality, to give it a proper ending. And I'm just happy that it all worked out.
Do either of you kind of feel like you had a little bit of empty nest syndrome, you look back on all the work you did and maybe just for fun you start drawing those characters again?
For sure, yeah. So many of the characters feel like family because you're drawing them for 15 years every single day. It's your full-time job, right? So it's it feels strange after a while. And then then I started drawing Spider-Man, and all the characters look the same anyway. So it's whatever.
I wasn't going to say it.
It's I never stopped drawing Invincible. Peter Parker is basically Mark Grayson. Adam Eves, Mary Jane, whatever. It's all good.
We're not here to promote your amazing Spider-Man run, Ryan.
Oh, that was fast anyway. Back in his comics, right?
Corey, any sentimental thoughts looking back on your work on the franchise?
No.
Not at all.
I was gonna say, I know that it sounds horrible, but one of the things about finishing the series, you know, was like seeing how upset people were that it was ending. It was like a really good feeling. And it's just because like just knowing that people cared enough to be upset that the thing was ending, and you know, to Robert's point, it's much better to have that than just have people lose interest over time. And, I think it means something.
Well said.
Well, even
Nobody
though
applauded after my answer. This is a good audience.
we do like pets, I think we could probably have a whole panel just looking back on the issues and where the past is taking you. But there's also some cool things happening that are a little bit more recent, which would be an excellent time for me to talk about March and your role at the company and the cool stuff that you guys are doing with the animation and kind of bringing Invincible to a whole new audience.
It's true. This is what we're doing. We've been working very hard on it for the last couple of years, and are very excited about being able to share the story in a different format and for a much bigger audience.
Who here has never read any of the issues but started being a fan of Invincible because of the series? Woo! That's a good amount of people. How many after watching went back and read the series? Yeah, we like to see. I love that. So Marge, for people who don't know, Marge is a badass. Okay, she's done a lot of really cool projects, and I would just love to know from you, Marge, what it was like, kind of stepping into the role at Skybound and kind of getting up to speed on what was happening with everybody in preparation for your work on the animation.
Well, it was a big learning curve. I had to meet everybody and understand, what season 1 was like and what were the goals for the future seasons, and then work and start to put the team together. Working with these guys and figuring out, who are some of the best players that we can bring in to do the show, and that was a big. And develop relationships with Amazon to make sure that they were happy with us and we could continue to move the show forward. So I kept me pretty busy for a good 6 months.
Oh, who didn't silence their phone? Who is it? Oh, it was you. Marge, I would love to hear from you about how you worked with the artists who are in such a different format from animation, bringing the art on pages to life and to make it move.
Sure. Well, I mean, everything always starts with the script. And so Robert, working with a team of writers led by Simon Graciopa and Helen Ray, would write the scripts, and then we would turn them over to the team that was led by Dan Duncan and John O'Neill to first do the designs. And one of the things to realize is that, one of the decisions that we made early on was that we wanted to do the show traditional hand-drawn. So it was a big, decision because it did require a tremendous amount of work and, extra work in doing that. And so the very first step of the process is to start designing all of the assets, which are the characters, the props, the backgrounds, and be able to share with the storyboard artists who would start to do, lay out the story visually. The show, probably the biggest challenge of the show is just that it is massive. I would say it's the biggest show I have ever worked on. I did a little recon with talking with a friend who had another hour-long drama, that adult show that they were producing, and I asked them what was their asset count, and they said per episode. So it's the same length of episode, but their count was about 200 assets per episode. Ours was 400. Yeah, so it was a tremendous amount of work. So then once we get the preliminary, while we're doing the design, we also then do the voice recording with the actors, which was a huge stellar cast, and that was definitely one of the highlights of the production, was being able to sit not in the booth because we did it all virtually, but to be able to listen to the voice records and hear that first coming to life of the scripts. And then the dialogue and the designs are handed off to the directors, the episodic directors, and the supervising director to be able to start doing the animatic. And because there was so much action and the choreography and the fighting of the scenes was so important, that our team in the U.S. Had to work out every single frame. We wanted to make sure that the fight scenes and the actions, the emotive scenes, the acting scenes also, had the character, had the movement that's really important in the show. So this is giving you see this is giving you an idea of the kind of drawing that we did. As is typical in a TV model, we sent the main part of production overseas. We worked with 2 studios in Korea. One is Maven, which did season 1, and the other one is Any For You, who was new to the show, and we've been very happy with the footage that we've been getting from both studios. And they take this work, our assets, as well as our storyboards and our animatics, and they make the actual animation. So then it looks like that.
Quite a bit of work goes into making this animated show.
I mean, on our team in the U.S., there was about, when we were at our peak and everybody was working on it, there were 70 people working on it. In Korea, there's probably an additional, I'd say 150 people. So that's 220, right? 220 people.
Don't ask me.
Working on the show. So, it's a lot of pencil mileage and a lot of human resources that go into it.
I thought it was just you.
Oh yeah, it's just me and Robert. It's just he writes them all and and then the final step is we bring the footage comes back to us. We call retakes, which are we go through all the footage and make sure that they did what we asked them to do, or what we asked them to do worked or didn't work, and then we just basically refine the shots. And we have some folks in-house who also add some extra embellishment for VFX, and then we do sound design, mix it, and deliver.
I mean, I think we all agree, came out pretty fantastic. But how did the team feel about the reception to season 1? Were you guys like sitting on the edge of your seats, watching all the react videos online, reading all the reviews?
I mean, a little bit of that, yeah. I mean, it was absolutely overwhelming. I mean, you never know what the reception of things is going to be until it happens. And so, to see like all the memes, that was a little fun. And the reaction videos are cool. I've seen a few. The Invincible podcast. I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that like so many people have responded to the show and have really gotten behind it, and it's crazy.
Anybody else have thoughts about fan reaction?
It was, it seems like I assume we all went in with fairly low expectations. Don't want to, hype it up on our brain too much. But I had no idea it was going to be like this.
Yeah, I tend to be negative.
Don't say.
I didn't have, I don't know. It was a surprise.
Hopefully it gave you some warm and fuzzies if you think you're capable of the warm and fuzzies.
I guess not. No, it's great. It's exciting. I just wish COVID wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Because
Don't we all? Anyone here a big fan of COVID?
I do appreciate that some people booed. Thank you. We're all collectively booing inside of our head.
It was definitely a weird time for the show to be debuting, but I don't know. It was good that we were all kind of huddled around our devices and waiting for something when it came around. So yeah.
Marge, I'd love to hear from you about how you think that this series in particular was kind of instrumental to kind of shaping the voice of where adult animation is going, because this is a very adult show.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think the whole thing about were people surprised or that people were surprised is really important. It's not just you guys who were surprised. I think Amazon was surprised. I think the audience was surprised to see something like, Invincible is really the first successful hour-long animated drama. And up until it came out, no one really believed that one could do that and that it could be successful. And I've heard stories, because I wasn't involved in season 1, but I heard, that Robert had to really fight with Amazon to make it, keep it an hour-long drama, because it was so against the norm of what everybody expected in animation. And the fact that it was so successful, and one of my favorite statistics about the show was that we learned is that it over-indexed. There was a huge number of people who were in the audience who found the show who never watched animation before, or didn't normally watch animation. And so the fact that audience found the show, I missed whatever that was.
Oh, I think this the punch that you guys have seen on the monitor decker kind of made its way to the big screen.
Anyway, the fact that happened, I think this really opened up the door for a lot of other shows that have now followed since. And also, people started going, animation is a medium. That's what a lot of us who are in animation have been saying for years. It's not a genre. It doesn't need to be limited to comedy or to kids. You can tell pretty much any story that you want to tell in animation. And, the Japanese have known this forever. In anime, you'll see there's all kinds of tropes that are told. And there's never a question or a point, which I have to say, I have been asked so many times in my career of, when a show comes up is why animate it? We have to have a reason to make an animation. And, my feeling generally is why not? It's like there's so much. There's so much that you can do, when you in animation, and there's so many different ways. There's 2D, there's 3D, there's even interactive stuff, which is expanding narrative, work in animation as well. So I think it had a huge impact.
Well, absolutely, because we're ramping up for season 2. Yeah! I'm excited for season 2. I think, it would be great, Marcia, from you. Have you guys done anything different leading into season 2? Maybe added a couple people to that already massive team?
Because what we did, season 1 had a lot of CG elements to it, and because we made the decision to go in a more traditional hand-drawn 2D approach, our crew did look different. We did have additional people to sort of help get all of the assets done that we needed to get done, and I think, and then we probably had less people because we didn't have like a CG supervisor and CG artist, so those I think are the major differences. I think the scope is probably as big. I mean, I don't know.
If not bigger.
If not bigger. So, yes.
So Robert, speaking of season 2,
Yes.
you've been doing interviews all day. Have you maybe been asked where season 2 is? When's it coming?
I have definitely been asked, but this gag's not going to work if we don't get to there. We go. Wait. Okay, good. So, just gotta make sure. Guys. So everybody's familiar with this meme, and I love this meme. So, you know, where's season 2, William? Here is season 2, William. So feast your eyes on the new updated character design of William for season 2 of Invincible. I'm very excited to be able to share this with you, and oddly enough, this is the only glimpse or news of season 2 that we have at this panel or any panel at Comic-Con this year. So drink up that William.
There it is again.
There it is. And art director Sean O'Neill that was brought on was instrumental in this. And then okay, I'll show you some more things. We got some more stuff. Get these slides going. We got, oh my gosh, who is that character? A little bit of extra leaving. There's an early glimpse of him. And then, there's an early glimpse. Who's played by, I'm not going to tell you. And then we got a little bit more. There's Bulletproof. We're excited about that. We having good times? Everybody excited? We got one more. We got the giant. And then is it on the screen? Can you see the little Invincible for scale? There you go. That's a scale marker. So this guy is quite big. But we're bringing a lot of new villains and new characters into the season, and this is a good glimpse of these fantastic guys.
Yeah, new reveal. Very exciting. Mike, you've been so patient down there on the edge of the table. Mike Rogers, everybody.
Not Mike yet. Let's keep going with this.
Robert's not ready to give up yet. So you guys are at Comic-Con. Obviously, there's a big merch presence at Comic-Con, and you guys have a couple things you're doing.
Yeah, there's merch for sure. There's a bunch of stuff at the Skybound booth. You should all go check it out.
Where is this guy now, Mike?
That's a good question. It should be on one of these slides. I think it's 37.35.
I'm going to just say it's 37.35 with confidence.
Yeah,
They don't
37.35.
It's not on the next slide.
It's on the next
Uh,
slide. I know that. If you walk the convention floor, there's a giant sign that says Skybound, and that's how you know it. So that's cool. We've got something I think that we're going to reveal here. Yeah, the big it's an Invincible Nendoroid. You're going to be able to pre-order it in September, and you can go check out the gray prototype at their booth at 4045 here at SDCC now, and that's pretty cool. What else we got? We've got some cool tabletop stuff to talk about. Very fun Invincible Escape from Mars game that's going to be coming out, releasing early next year. It's based on the Mars episode, Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out. It's kind of one of those like social deduction games, so you can play as a superhero, play as an astronaut, or get infected by a second. And the whole idea is, don't bring seconds back to Earth because that would be really bad for everybody. We got another game coming out, Invincible, the hero building game from Dire
So many games, Mike.
So many games.
I'm so
So
excited.
you are here.
I am very
Oh,
excited.
that's good. That's very good
This
news.
is what I look like when I'm excited.
Most of my job is just emailing Robert, Corey, and Ryan and getting them to look at things and just hoping they answer. And usually they're like, we love this. But stop emailing.
Usually. And I will say it's cool because it is a lot of emails per day these days.
It's a lot of emails.
It is a lot.
It is.
The things that you guys are seeing that we're announcing, I would say, tip of the iceberg is the term I'm going to use.
Just the very tip.
Tip of the iceberg. All right.
So Invincible, the hero building game, is a back builder from Direwolf. You play as like early Mark and the team. We're going to use their powers together, and it's super fun. You're going to be able to get it next year sometime. And I think we are moving on to some video games. Everybody's clamoring for this stuff. announced Invincible Guarding the Globe, which is a mobile game. You can pre-register for it now from the fine folks at Ubisoft. Super cool. It kind of pits you as like Cecil's number 2. It's a game where you build up your team, you know, build the Guardians out, and then sort of dispatch them. There are you know, a bunch of different games on the market that are sort of like this kind of gameplay. What I think is really cool about this one is that you, as Cecil, kind of you get a different lens of dispatching people and sort of forming the right teams for the right emergencies. And they figured out this way to have like a bunch of different battles playing all at the same time. So you really do have to figure out like who you want to send where and all that. So you can actually play this at the Skybound booth right now. They've got, well, not right now, you're here, but after this probably. They've got the game with them here, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. I think there's something that we're gonna.
An announcement, perhaps?
Yeah, like quite a new, brand new thing that we're
Did
gonna
I
announce here.
conveniently wear a pink top and have red hair? Maybe.
Invincible presents Adam and Eve, and I think we got a trailer to show for you.
Oh my God, we got a trailer.
Roll that clip. This is what's been keeping me up late at night for like 2 years now. I'm really excited that it's finally out in the world. Invincible presents Adam and Eve is coming to Steam. It's an amazing sort of visual novel experience, choice-based, that kind of puts you in control of Eve, and you get to sort of decide whose ass she's kicking, who she's dating, what kind of things she wants to do, how she reacts to different situations. And it's a lot of fun. It's been created by a team at Terrible Posture Games. It is a really unique opportunity to not have something set in the canon of the show or the comics, but have it be its own sort of like pocket of the multiverse where you can take your Eve in different directions than she's taken the path she's taken in those 2 mediums. It's also got some awesome combat. It does. Turn-based combat, different powers that you can get based on the choices that you make. You can go down sort of different paths of how you want to approach situations, and depending on what you do, you get sort of XP. You can take down a couple different branches, and that'll give you different attacks that you can use against familiar enemies, and also some that people from the comics might remember, but fans of the show might not have encountered yet. There's also, I think I talked a little bit about the relationships that you can form. Obviously, Rexplode, a big part of it. And, oh yeah, this is the unfamiliar face that I was referencing before. Some people here might recognize this character from the comic book Invincible. But yeah, I was talking about Rexplode, whether you date him, whether you don't date him, how that works out, how you feel about some of the canon events, duplicating Rex and how you react to that. It's kind of all in your control. And I think it's also really important to say this is our first original game set in the Invincible IP franchise from Skybound Games. So we're all really excited about it. Been working really hard. And I wanted to also highlight some of the team that's making the game. Jill Murray is our creative director. She was co-lead writer on 2 of the Assassin's Creed games, Tomb Raider game. She worked on Boyfriend Dungeon, and then we've also got Rossi Gifford, who's the art director of the game, and is leading all the illustration and character design on here. Her work is fantastic. It's been really a pleasure working with both of them. Jill has sort of just captured Eve and Rex especially, just captured their voices really well. And Rossi has just captured the spirit of Eve, and you can check out more of her work on her Instagram at Rossi.Gifford. Between the two of them and the entire team of Terrible Posture Games, they've just been doing a bang-up job, and I think are just, been sitting on the edge of their seats for a long time, waiting for it to be out in the wild. And I can't wait for you guys to play it. I really can't.
Yeah, I'll just add that, hold those thoughts. But I'll just add that the character that Mike's teasing is Universal, which is the character that we all love from the comics, and it was somebody that we thought would be cool in the game, but we're getting an opportunity in this game to actually use a lot of backstory and things that we had in the comics for Universal, but we never actually got around to revealing. So there's going to be aspects to her character that you'll actually learn from this game that you never got from the comics, which is a really cool thing that we're going to be able to use these games to kind of continue to expand out the Invincible world.
My favorite email I've ever received from you, Robert, was I was like, what's the deal with like the world guy? What's the universe's backstory? And you were like, you can come up with something. And then there was like 3 spaces, and you said 4, and then 3 more spaces. And the biggest paragraph I've ever seen, where you just like spewed out an amazing backstory that I was like, oh my, we're going to use that. We're going to do that.
It wasn't that spontaneous. Sometimes I do these emails for show, but that stuff is very unlikely.
Well, you know, I mean, I've been an Invincible fan for much longer than I've been, you know, the creative director on the game side of the franchise. But emails like that are just like, oh my, I can't believe this is happening to me sometimes. I like to tell the story that my dad, also a huge comics fan, bought, you know, weekly comics for us every month and every week. And Invincible was the first one that he made me buy with my own money. Teach me
As if I didn't already feel old at this 20th anniversary panel, you piece of crap.
Yeah. Robert
Sitting in after class.
Well,
That's a touching story, and I'm sorry I ruined it.
Didn't mean to cut you off there. I do want to let everyone know we are going to begin some Q&A in just a couple of minutes. So if you would like to head to the microphone, you can do so now while Mike tells us about this cool little thing you guys are doing.
Oh yeah, we're doing Invincible Cover Clash. It's you can go to the website right now, sign up. It's gonna be something that's coming later in the future, and you can sign up and pick your favorite covers. You're gonna get a chance to win some awesome prizes. You're not gonna want to miss it. It's very cool. Cover-clash.com, or you can scan this giant QR code that's on the screen up there now. And then I think it's time to hear from, good Lord, a lot of people lining up.
Yeah, so we're going to begin Q&A. So just as a reminder, please step right up, get right into the microphone, say your name, and as much as we would love to hear stories from everyone, there's probably going to be quite a few people with questions, so if you could make sure your question's a question, that would be excellent. And then if you have something specific you'd like to direct it to on the panel, please do so. So, you are first.
Make it good.
Hello, my name is Dante, and I have a question for the Skybound animation team.
So be it March, I believe.
Is the teaser that revealed the date of the second season indicative of the show's final animation in any way, unless it was a one-off in-house promotional short?
I'm sorry, you have to ask the question again.
Is the teaser that revealed the date of the second season indicate any, sense of the show's final style in the second season?
What's the teaser that revealed the date of the second season? This is not, there's no date of the second season yet.
Well, not the
That's not until the next panel.
I mean, you already got to see it.
Maybe,
You don't
maybe
really
not.
want to get up, right?
That was my question.
If you're talking about the Bobby Bills teaser, yeah, I mean that's it's somewhat representative. We did have to go to an outside studio, but it's pretty close to how any minor differences are probably not going to be noticed between different animation studios doing different things. Great.
I'm literally shaking right now. Okay, here's my question to all of you. What was the hardest for you to write in either comic book, animated series, or video game? Like, how were you able to push all the trauma into the story without getting it in the way of your emotions? Was it hard?
For me, I think that feeling the emotions that I'm writing kind of tells me that I'm doing a good job. I've often talked about I do get very emotional when I'm writing the emotional scenes. I do get upset when characters are dying. I feel it when bad things are happening to these characters. I know I joke a lot about being sadistic and I'm playing with your feelings and all that kind of stuff. That's just a cover for how much of a big softie I am because I'm insecure. But no, I mean I think that I know Ryan has talked about you listen to music when you're doing fight scenes because it pumps your energy up and you're just moving in almost like you're getting yourself pumped for a fight itself. So we all do little tricks to try and make sure that we can, funnel our emotions into the things that we're doing, because I think that that's what, like when you have an authenticity, like when you're actually bringing a real emotion into a story, I think it just makes it more effective.
I just want to add that I think it's also, there's the good side of it too, of like when you've gone through the emotion and you've created the thing and then you see it, it's just so invigorating to see that you actually accomplished, what you were trying to do. So it is like, all of this is hard on everybody who's working on it, but the satisfaction when it's completed and you see that you succeeded in what you were trying to do is, I don't know, sort of like giving birth. You forget after you have this wonderful baby that you're taking care of.
Yeah, I pace a lot whenever I'm doing creative work, and when I finally get to see something, I really it kind of explodes. Yeah, I love screaming, yay, and things like that. Especially with the Adam Eve game. I mean, Jill's writing has really made me just fall in love with Eve and Rex's toxic, crazy relationship. It's just so good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis. My question is specifically for Robert, Corey, and Ryan. I know that Invincible ended and you guys are really happy with the ending, but is there a chance that you guys would ever come back to the characters and maybe do like a one-shot comic just to check in with the characters and see what they're up to?
I mean, there's definitely a chance. I mean, it's I like the finality of the ending, but it is a world that I miss, and I want you guys to talk about this too. But I feel like I'm getting my fix to experience that world through the show sometimes, but sometimes I do think about the comics, and I do think about how much fun we were having, and it does make me think maybe it'd be fun to do some more. So there's definitely nothing planned, but I could see us revisiting some form of the Invincible universe at some point in the future.
We probably should. Let's do it.
So you're saying there's a chance. Insert a gift here. Thank you for your question.
Hello, I'm Louis from Corona, California, and I would like to ask each and every one of you, what were some of your favorite changes from going from the graphic novel to the show? And if you're feeling a little bit spicy, what were some of your least favorite things going from the graphic novel to the show?
Okay, my least favorite thing about adapting the comic to the show is that in the comic, the Grayson household makes no sense whatsoever. If you actually pay attention to where the windows and the doors are and where the staircase is established in one room, and it was all done on purpose, because I was like, I'd write scenes where it's like the kitchen, and then Omni-Man comes in through a sliding door, and then there'd be another scene where it's like the kitchen, and they walk through a hallway into the living room, and then the kitchen, and then the front door opens, and it's like, that's impossible. And I'd be like, I don't care, just draw it, it's gonna be fun. And I love that there's this weird MC Escher house that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Go through the comic, look at all the panels, it's fantastic. But when we're making the show, I was like, yeah, we'll do this MC Escher house, it's gonna be great. We're gonna have doors that make no sense, and there's staircases that go nowhere. There's a staircase in the kitchen, and there's a staircase in the living room, and there's a staircase right next to the front door. I don't know where these things are. And they're like, yeah, we can't do that. And I said, well, why can't we do that? And they're like, you just can't do that in animation. You're gonna have, and I argued with them for so long, and then eventually I just gave up, because I was like, all right, I guess we have to make things make sense visually.
So I could have told you that in the comic. I could have said, no, it doesn't make sense because I already I drew no door here. And then, I had to come.
If you would fought
these magic doors. I should have fought you much harder. But yeah, you were totally right. I had to draw there's a door right by the kitchen. I'm like, draw that area. It's a wall. But then just magically, there's a door. It's great.
I just wish we had Corey's dog that he drew. It could have been his Silver Surfer.
Listen, mistakes were made. The best part, and this happens sometimes if you buy the Ultimate collections, there's commentary from all three of us about like various cover designs and character designs, and we talk about it. And there are multiple times where there's like multiple sketches for a cover, and I'll go pick the wrong one. This one was cooler.
Thank you for your question.
This is just for everyone. I was wondering if your favorite character from the comic is the same in the animated series, and if it differs, why?
The Beast. Same. There's no difference.
It's not different for me.
Who is it? So I will be honest, I was punting at the beginning because I was like, I haven't really thought about who my favorite character in Invincible is. Because it changes. It changes. You know, sometimes it changes.
Favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, but it's Rex Cloak.
Mike, do you have one?
Yeah, Eve is my favorite in the comics, and Damien Darkblood is my favorite in the show. Just such a great growl.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Hi. We all know that things have to change when you're adapting from medium to medium, so I was just wondering how you decide what character or plot points need to change when going from comic to cartoon.
I mean, it's a really organic process. There are different reasons to adapt things and change things, from scene to scene. There's a lot of opportunity where there are things that in comics there's like a shorthand where you can kind of jump things between panels, and you can't really do that in animation, so you have to kind of adapt things a little bit differently. There's also panel mileage, where things that move take extra panels in comics to show that movement, but in animation you can just kind of have it happen. So there are a lot of scenes that you can kind of expand on and build upon that you had to kind of skip steps in the comics, so that's a lot of fun. Also, I mean, I view the show very much as the second draft of the comic, and so sometimes I'll say, we could have used some more emotion here, we could have used some more violence there, we could have skipped this part wasn't really important, and I don't think anybody really notices a lot of those changes if I'm like jumping through things or adjusting things in a certain way. It just kind of feels better, and it just kind of makes the scene work better. There hasn't really been any moments where I've said, I don't really want to adapt that. I mean, like when we were mapping out the first season, it kind of felt like the high school teacher that turned people into bombs, like seemed like it wasn't really necessary. We wanted to get into the good stuff sooner. So that was a choice where we were just like, well, we're just going to jettison that entire storyline. Like I say, it's a case-by-case basis, like figuring out what things need.
Thank you. And because we do have one more thing at the end, we can only do 2 more questions. So Invincible, you will be the last question. Thank you, everybody, for lining up.
I hope you enjoyed standing in line.
Sorry about that, everybody.
I just want to say, Invincible was the first comic I really ever got into and know the whole thing of, so that's good. But this one's more directed towards Robert and Corey. Was Immortal's design rejected concept for Mark at all? Because that's how I do his design.
So lack of creativity.
Just brutally honest. Thank you. All right.
Immortal's design is one of the best character designs in the comic, and I was like, I would like it to vaguely seem New Gods-ish, and Corey was like, yeah, cool, I'll just do this like completely original, crazy thing. And there's an eye hidden there, but there's so much complexity to that costume. I don't think it's a lack of creativity at all.
They just both have names.
That's true. That's lack of creativity on my part. All right, Invincible, what's up?
Hi. So I know we're pretty close to season 2, but I'm a little spoiled, so I want to know if there's any updates for the live action version, which is going to eventually come out one day. Thoughts in the process.
All right, Comic-Con. Buckle up. I'm very excited to announce that there is nothing to announce. Yeah.
Is that an exclusive?
Stand by. Yeah, no, sorry. Still very much in development, but nothing else to say. But, you know, season 2 of Invincible very soon.
And because I have my own microphone, I just want to sneak in a question. If you guys were in the room, you may have noticed that there was a Mortal Kombat panel just before this one. I'm a large MK fan. I've been playing since I was a kid when I probably shouldn't have been playing in the cabinet days. MK2 is one of my faves. So Robert, I need to know, one of my mains, who is Scorpion and Katana, for my two. Scorpion versus Omni-Man, who would win?
Oh, that's a good one. Look, I think that you can't count Scorpion out. I know that Omni-Man seems like he's a super powerful alien with all kinds of strength and stuff, but, you know, Scorpion, undead monster, that guy's got a lot of fight in him. But I think, honestly, if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Omni-Man. I think Omni-Man definitely trashes Scorpion in an absolutely horrendous way. But you know what? I think I want a second opinion. So let's bring out Mortal Kombat co-creator Ed Boon.
Well, first of all, he's wrong. And I'm not sure how many of you have heard the news that Omni-Man is going to be in Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh my God, look at
And not only that, he's actually the first character that we're going to release for Mortal Kombat 1 after launch. So we're very excited about getting and that should answer the question. What's the problem?
Omni-Man number 1.
I mean, but how do you guys approach gore? It's like a gore off between who's got the bloodiest blood physics and art.
Yeah,
right?
no, we had really had to tone down Omni-Man to make him fit in the world. But we were able to just get him, you know, in the passable state.
I'm definitely very excited to see what his fatalities are going to be. I mean, I'm hoping for some like loose eyeballs somewhere.
There's a lot of nods to the show, including fatalities. You're gonna love them. It's just awesome.
Honestly, this is a dream come true for all of us. We are all huge fans of Mortal Kombat since the very first game. Because, you know, like the 20th anniversary would indicate, we are not young people. And it blows my mind to have a character of ours in your game. I think I told you before the panel, every single moment of my career has been to get me here. And I could die a happy man just having anything to do with Mortal Kombat. This is so awesome.
Well, thank you so much to everybody for coming to our fantastic panel today. Thank you to all of our wonderful panelists, Robert, Corey, Ryan, Marge, Mike, and Ed for coming on with that fun reveal at the end. As you heard from Mike earlier, there was a lot of fantastic merch that you can get down in the booth. You can get hands-on with the games, and you can pre-order on the website. And don't forget, skybound.com is a great website where all of this information exists. And really, you don't really want to leave your seat, right? Everyone's hanging out?
Anyone leaving? Anyone? Yeah. I'd be very mad.
We got eyes on you. But thank you for coming to this panel, and hopefully you stay for the next one. And thank you to everybody on this panel right now. So let's give everybody a round of applause.
Stage, Editor-in-Chief of Collider, Steve Weintraub.
Can you ask, how's everyone doing? Thank you so much for coming out for this panel. I am a huge Invincible fan, just like all of you. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Robert Kirkman.
way? Are we good?
I think so.
All right, guys, I am so excited to be here. There's so much cool stuff about to happen. Buckle up.
What's amazing, what people don't realize is, like, I can see a little bit, but you're basically in a little bubble up here.
Yeah, no, I can see a little bit of heads. Yeah, no, there's some light now. But yeah, it just feels like an intimate conversation between my buddy Steven and I.
Sure. Look, so listen, man, the long wait to season 2 is finally coming to a close.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to start with the most important question. Why the F has it taken so long for us to get season 2?
Because I love messing with the audience. No, I mean, the transition from season 1 to season 2 happened in the pandemic, which, you know, complicates everything. And so it was really like, a lot of times it was like trying to figure out how you can make animation with the new rules of making things and the way productions work and everything. But also, this is an extremely complicated show. It's an hour-long animated series, but there's so many different characters and scenes and everything that goes into it that it's a really like long and difficult process. So we really kind of had to wrap our heads around how this production was going to be managed so that we could, you know, have a handle on it moving forward. So the good news is, yeah, it was a 2-year plus gap between season 1 and season 2, but everything that we've done in that span of time will ensure that there will never again be a gap of that length between any seasons of Invincible.
We all know season 2 is close, and I know you're also working on season 3. So what can you actually...
I cannot wait until everyone's like, when's season 3? When's season 3? When is season 3?
But I am curious, talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes in terms of where you're at with season 2, where you're at with season 3, like with the pipeline, and just
you want specifics? I ain't giving them to you.
Exactly.
But no, I mean it's you know, it's the process of like writing and then the voice acting and then you know, the boarding and animatics and then sending things off to overseas. There's also a giant like design and development stage for each season, and all of these things are kind of happening concurrently, and it's amazing to be working on season 2 and season 3 in tandem, because there are days where you know, we've been looking at animatics from season 2, doing voice records on season 3, like watching all these different things happen all at the same time. And it sometimes it's nerve-wracking for me, because, you know, I'll be in a voice recorder and I'll be like, what are they talking about? Oh, that's that thing from season 3, because I was thinking, because I watched that episode from season 2 yesterday, that it was about that. And so sometimes keeping it all together is somewhat difficult. But there's so much going on behind the scenes. I mean, everybody's been like, where's the season? Where's the season? When's it coming? And it's been frustrating not being able to say anything, because it's like 8, 9, 10 hours a day sometimes is spent on this show. And so it's, you know, it's great to finally be able to share things.
Season 1 is 8 episodes. How many episodes is season 2 and season 3?
Season 2 and season 3 are 8 episodes each. Yeah, there's an extra element that you know, we'll see. But yeah, just pay attention to the pattern.
Exactly. Season 1, the episodes are like 45, 50 minutes, give or take.
Yes.
For season 2 and 3, are we looking at the same kind of runtime?
Same exact format. You know, same season length, same episode length. You know, some episodes are going to be longer than others, but you know that minimum of 43, 44 minutes is always going to be the minimum.
So we know you're working on season 2 and season 3. Where are you at in the development of season 8, 9, and 10?
You know, in my head, I'm working on season 89, but no, I mean, it's great having this roadmap of 144 issues. So unlike when we were making The Walking Dead, the comic hadn't completed yet. So with Invincible, you know, we're able to go, okay, so if we want to run for X amount of seasons, we need to cover X amount of ground per season, and sometimes seasons, you know, could cover fewer issues, sometimes they could cover more, and it's good to be able to kind of get a sense of, you know, what kind of cadence there is. So I have a pretty rough roadmap of how the entire show would lay out. Unfortunately, I can't reveal that or anything, but there is a lot of work that's been done behind the scenes to make sure that, you know, everything gets covered in a satisfactory way.
Well, one of the things is after the success of season 1, you now know that this is working. And so how does that impact season 2 and 3, where maybe you would have spent 3 episodes on something, and now you might be like, well, this can actually be 4 episodes, because you know what I mean, like trying to space out the story.
Right. I think that, I don't know, I don't want to reveal too much. I mean, there was a lot of rearranging that happened in season 1. So if you're a real fan of the comics, you know that there's some storylines like the Titan storyline and the Rhiannon storyline that were compressed and were kind of moved up to allow us to do the structure of the Omni-Man storyline happening in the first episode and the last episode. And now that that's done, we're not doing as much rearranging, so that's good. But we are changing things here and there. I think that we took a lot of wild swings with like structure and the way we told stories in season 1, and because everybody like really liked it, we're pushing things even further for season 2 and season 3. So I think that if anything, I would say that if you loved Invincible, season 2 and season 3 are more invincible here.
The season 1 Rotten Tomatoes, I believe, got a 98%, and the audience score is a 92%.
I remember it being 110%, but maybe that's wrong.
Being serious, it's really hard to get the audience and critics to both love something. So talk a little bit about what your reaction is to that kind of reaction, and also, does that add more pressure on everyone for season 2 because everyone loved the first season?
I mean, it definitely, it's a little bit of pressure. It's also a little bit of reassurance, you know? It's like, okay, like, you were in a vacuum not knowing if it would land. You know, we make these shows, there's so many people that work so hard on the show, and then you don't know how people are going to react to it. And so to have such a positive reaction, it's almost, the challenge is to not let that distract you from what it is that got you there in the first place. So you kind of have to, like, ignore the fact that people, you know, are loving it so much, and just kind of get back to, okay, we got to stay the course. What we were doing was working, and so we just need to keep doing what we were doing.
I think there's...
Oh yeah, I think it is time for, you know, speaking of the show, let's see a little recap of what you guys may have experienced in season 1.
Season of any show is that you learn the infrastructure of making the show, you learn just how to make it. So what did you take away from the making of season 1 that you've applied to season 2 and 3 to maybe make it better?
Well, I think my involvement in the show has like streamlined quite a bit, because I didn't really know what the heck I was doing on season 1. Just I didn't know how animation was made, so I was writing scripts and I was like giving notes and working with the directors and you know, like, overseeing certain things and helping out certain things, but I didn't really know how to talk to people. I didn't really know what was possible. And so over the course of the first season, I've learned a lot. And so like, even just down to like how the scripts are written and the way scenes are structured, I feel like there's a much better understanding of the pipeline and how things work. And I think it's really going to show through in the final episodes.
Prime Video is doing some fantastic stuff between The Boys and Invincible, and both push boundaries. And I'm curious, what is it like when you are, say for season 2, do you have to like pitch someone on the arc of the season? Can you sort of talk, like pull back the curtain on what it's like trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I work very closely with one of the executive producers, Simon Rasiopa. And he and I developed like the structure of the seasons together, and you know, we you know, show things to Amazon, and you know, okay, this is how this is going to go, and you know, tell them like different structures and things, and they've been really. I mean, I think the reason that platform, Prime Video, has such innovative, cool, and crazy things is there's cool people behind it. And they've been really like willing to allow us to kind of go into some you know, very bizarre directions and very unique directions, and you know, really pushing the envelope in some really exciting ways. And I think that it was definitely a feeling them out process in the first season. Like I would push things as far, like probably further than I even wanted to do, or just to see, like if they were trying to rein me in, and they did not. So I guess it's like my goal is to find the line. So with every like boundary pushing crazy thing that we do, I'm going to like keep pushing it until at some point they say, maybe not that, but I haven't found that line yet, which is super exciting to say.
I was going to say, I was wondering if you had reached the line with season 2 or 3.
No, I mean they're like, they're really good at like saying, okay, well, let's make sure the emotion is there for this, let's make sure the emotion is there for that. But when we're doing stuff that's really boundary pushing, they've been on board.
What is the thing that you're still surprised you've gotten away with between the 3 seasons?
I mean, I'm really partial to War Woman vomiting blood down her own back. Is that Comic-Con friendly? Can I say that? It's tiny little moments like that where it's like, ugh, that's not okay. And to be able to see that come to life in animation, like it's really cool.
What is what is the length of time from when you are writing to getting it on the air? Like, what's the bottleneck in terms of, like, say you worked on a script today and you needed to get it on the air as soon as possible? Is it a year? Is it a year and a half? Like, what is that frame, the time frame?
Oh, I think it's 2 years. I think it's roughly 2 years. Like, if I were to sit down and start a script sitting in this chair right now, it would not be out for 2 years. Like it's a long process doing animation, and it's not like there's one step in that process that takes significantly more time than the other, or like, oh, if we could just fix this one area. It's just like every single thing like moves at its own pace, and you have to make sure that you do things the right way, and so it just kind of compounds because there's so many different departments and so many different people like working to bring this thing together.
Everyone in this room is a fan of Invincible. What do you think would, I swear, what do you think would surprise everyone in this room to learn about the making of Invincible?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I wish I had a better answer for this question. I certainly saw these ahead of time, but yeah. But no, I think that, I mean, everyone that makes this show loves the show as much as you guys do. I think that's really important to know because, it's a really time-consuming job in all places, and there's just so much love and dedication and care that goes into this show. And I just think it's really great, for the audience to know that, like, as much of a fan of Invincible that you are, everyone making this show is just as much of a fan.
I'm sure you read reviews and tweets and what people are saying online. So is there, and listen, some of the stuff that gets said is really terrible, but some of it can actually...
That's my favorite stuff.
But some of it can be constructive criticism. And I'm curious if you've read anything that you said, that's a really good point, we need to apply that to season 2 or season 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times I look for like reassurance from the audience. It's hard to pinpoint like one single thing that's actually been incorporated because a lot of times we're so far ahead of the audience production-wise that by the time we're getting that feedback, it's kind of difficult to incorporate it. But to like gauge the reaction to certain things, it oftentimes tells us we're on the right road, if that makes sense. So it's like it'll tell us, okay, you're on the right path. So we know to keep going ahead or pivot if we're not on the right path. So it's hard to find a specific thing, but just knowing what the audience is liking and isn't liking is very valuable.
I think everyone in this room wants to finally talk about season 2. So what can you tell people?
I think I'm going to give you guys some information now. Okay. If you've seen the fantastic teaser poster for season 2 that was released, you may have noticed that Duplicate's chest numbers are 11 and 3. That was a very obvious indication that the release date for season 2 is not December 31st, like so many people think. It is actually November 3rd. So, On November 3rd, we will be debuting the first episode of season 2. And only the first episode of season 2. I am a firm, don't you dare grumble. I am a firm believer that the weekly cadence of television is community building. It gives you the time. It gives you the time to digest the show. It gives you the time to talk to your friends. Oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, I can't wait till next week. It gives you that time to anticipate the next episode, to think about the next episode. And I think that streaming the entire season at once has lost that. And so I'm very excited. Weekly episodes, and we're going to debut the first 4 episodes of season 2, starting on 11/3, and do it weekly. And then we're taking a very short break, and then we're going to be coming back with the second half of season 2 in early 2024. And I know that sometimes these breaks are not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world, but when you see what we're doing for season 2, when you watch episode 4 of season 2, you are going to need to take that holiday break, to spend Christmas with your family, to hold each other close and comfort them, to feel that warmth of their touch and know that everything is going to be okay, and prepare you for what's coming in the rest of season 2. So we're all very excited, and I think do we play a trailer now or later? I can't remember. Okay, are we playing the teaser now, or do you want to wait a few minutes? Hold on. Does anyone want to see a trailer now? All right, let's see a teaser trailer for Invincible season 2.
For some of you, it probably seemed like this day would never come. Maybe you're even wondering if you're ready for this.
So, what can you actually say about season 2? What can you tease?
I think we saw a little bit of Midnight City. I was very excited about that. I think I don't want to spoil too much. We are doing Ancient Leading. I'm very excited about that. That's a story that it's a real evolution in the story of Invincible. It's him kind of taking charge. It's him becoming more adult. It's him, Omni-Man is not there to train him anymore. Omni-Man is not there to help him. And so in season 2, we're kind of moving into a period of Invincible kind of finding his own way. And that kind of collides with what Ancient Levy's trying to do. And there's so much packed into season 2 that I wish I could talk about. So Ancient Levy is a huge through line that will carry you through season 2, but there is so much other stuff that happens along the way. So I couldn't be more excited for November 3rd for you guys. It's gonna be awesome.
As we saw at the end of that teaser, you have an awful lot of new guest stars, new voices. I wrote down a few: Tatiana Maslany, Sterling K. Brown, Ben Schwartz, Stu McNary, Chloe Bennett, Davide Diggs. There's so many. Did anyone say no to you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of a comedian named Connor O'Malley, and Connor O'Malley said no to me. So I want people to talk to him on social media because that would really upset me. I love him so much. I will reveal that I'm trying to do, I shouldn't say this, fun Comic-Con stuff, so I'm going to reveal something here. We have offered Bryan Cranston a role in Invincible. And every single season he has said, I'm very busy. And you know what? I believe him. But hopefully at some point he won't be too busy. But no, I mean, I think that the cast has been just amazing. It's been so much fun, seeing it all come together. And when you guys see who's playing who, which I cannot reveal right now, Sterling K. Brown is Ancient Levy. I can feel the Prime Video people over here.
That was not supposed to be said.
We're having fun, but it's great stuff. It's been great working with these people.
That was thrown off by that. So I know
I was too.
I know you are a huge Transformers, especially Generation 1 fan. So what was it like getting Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, to be a part of Invincible?
I need a thunderous applause for Peter Cullen. I have never cried so much in a voice recording. It's just like to hear just every sound coming out of his mouth was just like, oh my God. It was so amazing, and it's crazy because all of our voice recording is done over Zoom now because of COVID, and there are just restrictions to how many people can be like in a confined space, and you have to record in confined spaces, and so it's just like me at home on my laptop, like looking at Peter Cullen like in a Zoom window, just like I'm so glad my camera's off so I can't see the look on my. I'm just like. But and he's spectacular. He's just an absolute pro. Brings so much to the role I mean, you guys might be able to guess. But yeah, it's been so great working with him. It's just a tremendous honor and just a huge. I mean, this year I got Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat, and I got to work with Peter Cullen. Like what? That's not fair. It's crazy.
Like I said, I know you're a huge Transformers fan. Which this is a curveball. Which Optimus Prime figure that you own in an emergency would you save?
I am really extremely partial to the Power Master Optimus Prime. It was somewhat late in the Transformers run, but it's just the most impressive, like amazing figure. It's the Optimus Prime that has like 45 guns connected to him, and he's got, it's great.
I think that we have a little bit more that maybe you could offer the fans.
Yes. I thought it was the one thing. There's so much, guys.
Right. Yeah, it's that. But before you say anything, everyone in the room, can you please make sure that you take your phones and aim them low, because there's like people with night vision goggles.
Yes, you will get your phone confiscated if you're not careful.
So what would you like?
And I will destroy your phone personally if it's confiscated. So yeah, I think we're gonna play a clip. We're gonna play a clip from season 2.
I actually don't know what episode that's from, and maybe you don't want to say.
I couldn't tell you what episode that's. I mean, I could, but I won't. Because they're already mad at me. But I will say that like it took so long to find a clip that wasn't going to like spoil too much. So it was like it was very difficult to come up with like a really cool, satisfying scene. I love the fun Easter egg from the series premiere. I don't know if anybody caught that. But it was difficult finding a scene that wasn't going to because there's just so much packed into the show.
How has Mark changed from the first season to the second?
I think that if the first season was about him being worried or that he wasn't going to be his father or live up to his father, the second season is about him being worried that he is actually going to become his father. So it's definitely in the aftermath of season 1, and Mark, like dealing with the truth of who his father really was, and what that means about Viltrumites, and what that means about him because he is a Viltrumite.
How much time has passed from the end of season 1 to the beginning of season 2?
We pretty much pick up right where season 1 left off. There's like indeterminate, like small amount of time. It might be like a day later.
So we talked a little bit about this at the beginning of this panel, but the first season is like the first 13 episodes. First 13 issues. For season 2, is it? And I don't know how much you're going to say, but is it the next 13? Is it how many issues is season 2? And if you want to say season 3.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, but it's great. When we plot the seasons out, sometimes it's going to be, sometimes it's going to be 14 issues, sometimes it's going to be 30 issues, sometimes it's going to be, more or less. It changes from season to season. So I will say that season 2 and season 3 cover all 3 seasons cover different lengths of episodes, different runs of episodes. So it's very difficult to pinpoint what we'll be covering and where seasons will break.
How did you decide what you would change from the comics for the Prime Video series? Because there are some changes.
Yeah, no, there's changes along the way, and it's all organically chosen. Certain scenes need to be like plussed up. I think an example of that would be the Guardian's death in season 1. That was something that was much more subdued in the comics, and so it was just a process of like making everything zanier and bigger. There's a lot of stuff with Debbie Grayson because Sandra Oh is such a great actor. We want to expand that role and give her as much as possible. And so there's a lot of new stuff with Debbie that you wouldn't be expecting. It's just that kind of case-by-case basis of like what do we want to do and how we're going to adapt things.
One of the things about Invincible is you have these colorful visuals with brutal graphic violence. Talk about how you figured out that was going to be the style and visual.
When Corey Walker and I were developing the comic book series, that was something we wanted the book to look like a traditional superhero comic, and because we weren't doing a traditional superhero comic, and it was all about playing against type and trying to get the audience to think it's one thing and then realize that it's something else. And then when Ryan Otley came on board, he kind of took the violence and ran with it. So any scene I would give him would get like 5 times more extreme. And so that really kind of pushed it even further than what Corey and I probably anticipated. And so it's just an evolution of that. And now that we're doing the TV show, that playing against type, that making people think it's one thing and giving them something else was just maintained from the comic.
I'm just curious, the comic was 144 issues, and how did you actually figure out, did you know that was the end point? Like, how did you figure out where the end was going to be in the comics, and was there ever any debate about going further, or, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. I think that, it was a thing where, like, while we were making the comic, early on, I would say that if you asked me in an interview how long is Invincible going to go, I would say my desire is to do 200 issues of Invincible, 100 issues of Invincible, whatever, and then hand it off to somebody else, because that's the tradition in superhero comics. You have, and I would say my desire is to be like Stan Lee sitting in an armchair at age 70 going, what are these kids doing with Invincible? Like, these guys don't know how to write Invincible. And I was very sincere. I thought that'd be fun. But over the course of Invincible, I fell in love with these characters so much that, I didn't like the idea of letting them go. And Invincible had always been about playing against type, about making people think we're doing traditional superhero stuff and they're doing something different. And I realized, like, the most, like, original Invincible thing that we could do is do a superhero story that has a beginning, middle, and an end, and is a complete story and has finality to it. And thank you. And so, and so it was just, working with Ryan and working with Corey and just bringing it to a satisfying conclusion. And I still miss it to this day, and I love those characters. And it's one of the reasons I'm so involved in the show is because I we ended the comic almost right when we started working on the show. And so I haven't really had a break because I love Invincible and I still, want to be like living in this world and working with these characters. And so, as soon as the show ends, we'll bring the comic back.
What I love is that the fans in this room have no idea what's coming next.
Oh, I know. Isn't it cool?
No, I just mean they're about to get very excited.
I know, right?
They are.
It's so cool. So, oh, that's right. I just didn't know what my lead-in was. So, guys, November 3rd. Isn't it far away? Yeah! So far away. Wouldn't you like something sooner? Yeah! Would you like a special Adam Eve episode? Would you like a special Adam Eve episode that debuts on Prime Video today? So that's right. Tonight there will be a Adam Eve special episode on Prime Video that you can watch.
I think there's voices the art, but also I think that
big screening. Big screening. We got a big screening. That is at 10 p.m. in Ballroom 6A, baby. So if you saw on the program, there is a Not an Invincible Season 2 screening in Ballroom 6A at 10 p.m. tonight. That screening is not a Season 2 screening, it is an Adam Eve special episode screening. So if you want to, I'll be introducing the episode. We'll all be together, we'll watch the episode, it's going to be great. And it's also available on the platform for everyone to watch.
Also, I think the people that go to the screening, there's a special poster and collectible pin for those. But I'll be honest, it's all well and good that it's screening tonight and people at home can watch it, but I think the people in the room should probably see some footage from it now.
I think we might have to play another teaser trailer.
People in this room that would like to ask Robert questions, so there's a microphone.
Guys, we got 2 more trailers. No, I'm kidding, you don't.
So if you'd like to ask any questions, if you want to line up, while people are lining up, I actually am curious, because it takes so long, so you've been working on Adam Eve for 2 years?
It was the first thing that we did, moving into season 2, that was the first thing that we did because we were trying to get that in the pipeline as quickly as possible so that we could air it before season 2. So yeah.
Is there, and this is not just ask it, but is there any chance you're working on any other specials like that? I have to try. Anyway, I would love to open it up for the audience. I think we have to have the mic on.
Testing 1, 2.
Excellent.
I don't know if this is a spoiler, but are any of the cast going to be showing up at this special event?
No cast is going to be showing up at the special event because there are strikes going on right now. The WCA and SAG are striking right now. It's an inflection point in entertainment where the move to streaming and the way that our business is evolving is very quickly changing the way that writers and actors are compensated. And it's they're striking because this is possibly the last opportunity to maintain the way of life that writers and actors have experienced, and it's a very important time. And so while it is not fun that you're not getting the actors at Comic-Con, and there will probably be at some point a gap in entertainment because of this, I think that we all need to show these hardworking individuals solidarity and see through this.
Help you
Definitely.
Yeah, because like literally everything that we love is at stake. So yeah. But I'm gonna bring out Steven
My daughter is very curious about the Avenue and Invincible and all the merchandise I have up in the office, but I can't really share too much about those characters with someone her age. Tara would now be the same age as my kid. Would there be any chance for a younger audience with the expansion of like that game or anything like that for a younger audience to be introduced into the Invincible universe?
I think you're just gonna have that kid grow up soon. So let's just show her this stuff. What age are we talking?
She turns 9 next year.
That's perfectly fine. Come on. What are you talking about? No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you know, let her watch a Spider-Man cartoon. It was a terrible answer. I'm so sorry.
One of the characters in Invincible, who would you talk to?
I'm sorry.
If you could talk to one of the characters in Invincible, who would you talk to?
Oh, if I could talk to one of the characters from Invincible, who would I talk to? Oh my gosh, Robot would be so helpful because he's smart, and I am not. So that would be good. I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, Rexplode would be entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. I would try to talk to all of them. That would be a lot of fun. But definitely Robot. Thank you.
Hi, Robert. One of my favorite changes from the graphic novel into the show was the music. Did you have any involvement with the selection of the music for each of the characters?
I will say the music in the comics sucked. It was a bad choice. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll be completely honest. I lean on Simon Rasiopa for the music because I have, I don't know. It's like I have like maybe not great taste in music, and I worry that I will hurt the show, and because I have a very limited array of music that I listen to. I don't know why. And so Simon is much more well versed, and he works with the music directors and all that, and music supervisor to you know, pull all that together. And so if a song, you know, bugs me or something, I do have like a final moment where I can be like, I don't like that. But Simon is very much in charge of that and does a great job.
What's up, Robert? Huge fan of the comic and the TV show, and I'm excited for season 2. I can't wait for it. I don't know if it's an appropriate question, but
watch right now.
Will Omni-Man have a redemption arc?
I think it would be very difficult for Omni-Man to have like a true redemption arc based on everything that we've seen him do and say. That said, read the comic book, please. But yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things that interests me and one of the things that I really tried to change in season 1 when adapting from a comic was I love this idea that aliens like Viltrumites actually have like different sensibilities. Too much you see sci-fi stories where aliens have like the same kind of familiar relationships and the same kind of like life goals and the same sense of right and wrong. And I think that if we were ever to truly encounter an alien race, like all of that stuff would be completely different and out of whack in bizarre ways. And so I don't know about a redemption arc, but I like the idea of exploring Viltrumite life and what Viltrumite values are and why they seem so evil to us. So I think possibly if Omni-Man were to ever appear on the show again, it would be fun to try and see his perspective on those events. And maybe that would bring an understanding, but it probably won't. The guy's a real dick, right?
When I read Batman comics, I tend to hear Kevin Conroy's voice in my head. And now that I've seen the Invincible show,
when I read it, I hear Stephen Ewan's voice in my head. I'm just curious, when you were writing it, whose voice did you hear in your head?
I'm fortunate in that I don't hear anyone's voice when I'm like, oh, no, that's not, I mean, I'm not saying that he's hearing the voices, but no, like, I don't know why, but there's like a neutral voice in my head when I'm writing, and I don't have like different human voices. I don't know if I don't have access to that, but then once a character is cast, all I hear is that actor, which is very strange. So like when I was working on Walking Dead, I'd be writing Rick Grimes here and Andrew Lincoln, and then I'd be writing a character that hadn't been cast in the show yet, and it would just be like this dull, boring voice that like lives in my head, and it was very frustrating. Like, oh, I don't know, I have this depth that I get from this other thing. But it is insane how quickly when you cast an actor and they come in and inhabit that role, that they just take over. It's like, okay, Robert's brain, anything you thought about this character, gone. Cecil sounds like Walton Goggins. He has that inflection. That's the way he speaks, and it's a pretty cool process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to be a part of this short Q&A here, Sarah. One question that I've had on my mind, and I think a lot of fans have been thinking this since season 1. Will we ever hear Alan the Alien do Seth Rogen's signature laugh?
There's not a lot to laugh about in his scenes. Yeah. I mean, you probably will. I'm trying to rack my brain to think if he does it in season 2 or 3. But I'm going to say maybe. Maybe. I will say we were in the recording booth for season 1, and we were like, can we just get like a laugh? Just so we have it, just in case we like have him laughing at any point in the show. And Seth said, you would have to make me laugh for that, because he was like, I can't just spontaneously like do the signature Seth Rogen laugh. Like I actually like, he goes, trust me, I've been on productions where they try to get me to do it, and I'm telling you, I just can't do it. And so he's like, you're just gonna have to like spontaneously like be funny and make me laugh. And I was like, not it. Can't do it. Like I'm not gonna like make Seth Rogen laugh. He's a genius. So I don't think we got it that day. So we'll see if there's like a genuine laugh that comes about in the recording process that makes it into the show. But I don't think it's happened thus far. But the man is more than a laugh. Well, hopefully that's not something bad. We're still alive. Everybody okay? That seems like some kind of fire thing, but I think we're okay.
I'll certainly be watching with great interest. Certainly be watching with great interest. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, love the series, love the cool thing that's been happening in Miami as of late. So, my question is in regards to the production team. I believe you were talking about how you were trying to transition in regards to the pandemic. What was like the hardest aspect to transition during the pandemic when dealing with the production team for the series?
The hardest aspect? I don't know. I mean, I think we have an amazing team. Dan Duncan is our supervising director. Sean O'Neill is our art director and lead character designer. Ryan Otley is a consultant. Corey Walker was the lead character designer in season 1 and then moved up to co-executive producer on season 2. We got Simon Rasiopa, whom I've mentioned far too much. And there's Helen Lay, who's working out on the writing side of things. And March Dean. March Dean came in. She wasn't present for season 1. But she's come in for season 2 and is kind of overseeing all of the step-in animation stuff, and has been doing a really great job of putting the systems in place and finding the best people and building the teams necessary to make this all happen. So I guess the most difficult thing was just like finding the perfect team, and I think we've done it.
Definitely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Griffin. My name is CJ. I've been a fan of Invincible since a teenager, read the entire series, and my question is...
I'll soon be Gus.
My question is, what is your favorite change from the comic book show and so on?
I mean, I think it was really important to diversify the cast, and so if I'm completely honest, the most important change was solidifying the Grayson's ethnicity because it was somewhat ambiguous in the comics, and also like updating characters like Amber and things like that. I think that you know, as a white kid growing up, you know, I had you know, the Terminator, and I had Rambo, and I had Die Hard, and I had like all these different characters to like see myself in. And you know, it's easy to not like recognize that there's you know, tons of diversity in our entire society, and for far too many years there's just a complete lack of representation. And so I think that as a dumb white guy, I don't deserve those applause. But I think that you know, just being able to have a Korean kid be able to watch Invincible and see himself on screen, and see himself in Stephen Young's performance, and just know that like you're a welcomed member of the community, and that, you know, you're an important part of society. You know, that you know, you can't downplay the importance of that. So that's probably the biggest change that we did.
I'm Andres. This is my first San Diego Comic-Con ever. I just actually recently graduated from Dominguez Sales for my major film, so thank you for that, and wanting to inspire me to finish up. That being said, my production question is, how many takes does it take for each take of each scene? And it is quite a big gap from season 1 to season 2 of how much is put into the series, so I would like to know the process. And as my first visit, can I get you to sign a book?
It would be bad for me to sign that because I can't sign everybody's books, but I'm going to do it anyway. Bring it up. Do you have a marker? You don't have a marker? This is your moment. All right. Come on. And then I've already forgotten your other questions, so tell me when you get up here. Oh, it was about takes? You wanted to see how long it takes? Give me the question. Oh, well, I mean, it's different with different actors. I think that I'm not Stanley Kubrick. I'm not as talented as him. This is my pet now? Yeah, just give it back to Kubrick. So I don't know. I mean, I think that we've worked with such amazing actors that, you know, there's been a few times where, you know, you have to like get the scene right, and you have to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and that the delivery, a lot of times actors are recording voice lines separately, and so you have to make sure that when you put the two together, they're going to work. And every now and then you have to redo things, but I don't think Invincible is a show where, you know, we're doing like 7, 8, 9, 10 takes of things. It's all been fairly streamlined. So if you're looking for a reason why the gap from season 1 to season 2 was so long, it ain't that.
Thank you so much for all you do, and I will thank you down. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Maybe we don't.
Is that it? No, nothing?
We have 2 more minutes. Do you have another question?
Oh,
Here we go.
I just wanted to ask a question about the multiverse, because Invincible, they were saying that I was going to have to deal with this in the next season. So my main question to you is, all the comic book movies and TV shows dealing with that, what's Invincible's take? What have you taken from those, and how are you going to make it, you know, I guess, Invincible?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with multiverses. Almost every superhero movie has some aspect of it. The Fantastic Into the Spider-Verse is probably the best among them, doing the greatest stuff with it. You know, I think that the Ancient Levy character, like his ability is that he can travel to other dimensions, but I think that we're going to use the multiverse as a mirror to show like different like things that could have happened with our characters, different emotions, different outcomes, and things like that. But we're not going to use it to like bring different versions in at the exact, like at the exact same time. So we're doing like a little bit more of like a character study with our multiverse storyline, if that makes sense. So I think that's going to set season 2 apart from all these other things. It's very much character driven, and it's very much character study.
I think the secret to getting information out of you about season 2 is just keep you on stage.
Yeah. Too much.
I think this is going to be our last question.
Okay, hi, my name is Robert Cabrera from Virginia, and my question is, if you were given the chance to do a full-length theatrical film of the animated Invincible movie, would you take the chance to do it?
I think that we have the live action movie still in development, but I think that I love the episodic nature. I think that as the series progresses, there might be some opportunity for events to do something in like a film version, but I think that Prime Video is great, and I love the episodic way that we're going to be telling this story, and I think that for the most part, I think the best way to tell this story is in this episodic form, season to season. So that's kind of the goal. Awesome, thank you so much, everybody. Oh my God, this is the greatest. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Kirkman.
November 3rd.
And also remember the screening is tonight. If you want the poster, poster, pen, and Robert's great things on stage.
Hopefully I didn't make too much noise. No, you're good, boss. You're good. Thank you.